Well, let's see. It's now Friday, the 17th of June. It's about 10 minutes to 2. You're listening to a woman who's being murdered by the persons acting as the province of British Columbia. You are listening to a crime in progress. You have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to call the Saanich Police. You have a duty, responsibility, and obligation to call the RCMP and report that you're listening to a woman who's being hated to death. You're listening to a woman who's being persecuted to death by bankers, by bar members, by public servants pretending to be the District of Saanich, which is nothing but a criminal organization. Law enforcement in British Columbia are refusing to serve me, despite the fact that I've had multiple acts of genocide committed against me and my real biological property and me and my spouse. I am the mother of a forced adopted son. He was abducted, kidnapped from me in 2009. He was sold to pedophiles by the pedophiles acting as the BC Supreme Court in 2012. Read Section 170 of the Criminal Code of Canada. It is crystal clear that Canada is a country that promotes incest and pedophilia amongst guardians, parents, and children. It's crystal clear in Section 170 of the Criminal Code of Canada that no child is safe in Canada. No child is safe here. And I, as one of the peculiar people, I, as a real woman, I, as a pure-blooded woman, I have Rh-negative blood. I'm not from this fucking world. Never have been, never fucking will be. And if you don't like what I have to say, you can go fuck yourself and you can go fuck off. Because I'm about to set up my rights and I'm about to set up some boundaries, which I have to do every single time because I am exposing public servants. So that means I have to expose these public servants in public venues on social media. Now, social media agents hate me. They block me. They shadow ban my comments. Oh yes, unfortunately that's a crime. It's called a hate crime. It's called discrimination, and I won't tolerate it. Because I'm going to be, in a few seconds here, I'm going to be calling this indictable crime committing criminal, this male monster, this disgrace, this compulsive liar, John Horgan, who hates me. Yeah, he's one of the gang rapists who have gang raped me. They stole my interest private property. They embezzled every single dollar from me. They force evicted me when there was a ban on forced evictions in British Columbia. But because there's a completely different set of rules for me because of these public servants' hatred for me, they all falsely believe that they're above the law when they come and commit acts of war and genocide against me and my family. Well, I'm about to inform them they're fucking wrong. I'm invoking every single one of my rights under the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. I'm invoking my rights under the Act for the Preservation and Enhancement of Multiculturalism in Canada. I am letting you know right here, right now, I am not a Canadian citizen. I've never been a Canadian citizen, and I'm never going to identify myself as a Canadian citizen. I do not associate with the Commonwealth because the Commonwealth is a Satan-serving, Satan-worshipping disease. It's a blight. It's a disease. It's a contamination. And I will not be a part of a contamination. A satanic contamination that's trying to pass itself off as a public service agency. It's not. Canada and the province of British Columbia are both private for-profit Ponzi scheme corporations. They have nothing to do with serving the public. They murder the public, they steal from the public, and they destroy the public, and yet they try to pass themselves off as the opposite of. But I know the truth because I'm a woman of truth. That's who sent me down from above. The truth sent me here to be a witness against the wickedness of my generation. My job is to speak up and to speak against evil and evildoers, and that's what I do. That's what I'm trained to do. That's my expertise, and I'm an expert in law and justice. I'm counselor for the king. I identify as king's counsel because that's exactly who I am, and that's exactly what I am. So, unfortunately, the Constitution of Canada would not apply to me or my peculiar people. The Canadian Human Rights Act, also, I'm not a human, so that wouldn't be applying to me. A human is a hybrid. It's a Homo sapien. A human is legally defined as a monster because that's exactly what the fuck it is. A human is not a man. It's not a woman. It's a male or female animal. It's an animal. It's not a man. It's not a woman. It looks like, but it is not. That's why its name is human. Do you understand me? If you understand anything about biology, blood, genetics, science, if you understand anything about the DSM, which are the scriptures are the Diagnostic Statistic Manual for life and what you see before you. If you don't understand the DSM, you're not going to understand a word that I'm telling you because that's my native language. However, my peculiar people are a party to the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. Now, my race is hated by the world, and I can prove it. Unfortunately, though, the pigs in Canada, and a pig is a person in government, a person is a thing. Yeah, humans are things. Humans have no rights. A human is a thing has no rights. Persons have duties, obligations, and responsibilities. So all the Canadian pigs, all the persons in government, whether federal or provincial, have duties, obligations, and responsibilities, but you have no rights at all. Nope, I'm a woman. I'm the only kind that can obtain and shove my rights down your throat. Because only one of the living has rights. You see, a human is dead. So a person is a thing, right? So it's dead. You get me? You more than likely don't. But if you do, bless you. If you can understand what I'm telling you, bless you. Because you have eyes that see, and you have ears that hear. Bless you. Bless you, bless you. May he bless you and keep you. I am hated by this world, for sure. Unfortunately, though, the pigs, the federal and provincial pigs in Canada, have to respect my rights under the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, a convention that recognizes that I am equal before the law and entitled to equal protection of the law against all discrimination and against all incitement to discrimination. I will invoke my rights under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which provides me, because my people belong to an ethnic and a linguistic minority, we will not be denied our right to our own culture or the right to use our own language. So every single word out of my mouth is my own language. It's protected speech. I belong to a protected group. We are known as the peculiar people. This world hates us. This world seeks to murder us from among you because we know who you are, we know what you are, and we know that what you're up to is pure evil. If you are a child of the devil, you are a contaminant, you are a toxin, you are a weed, and you are poisonous. I will not associate with you, and my job is to destroy you. And that's what I'm going to do to you if you cause me and mine any harm, loss, or injury. That's why I'm about to call this pimp here, pretending to be the premier, John Horgan. Because he's a racist, he's a bigot. It's not even a he, it's an it. It's a male monster. And it's a savage. It's a satanic savage. That's what John Horgan really is. Unfortunately, he will not be getting out of Article 5 of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. Article 5, Part B, is crystal clear that I have the right to security of myself and protection by the pigs acting as the province of British Columbia against violence and bodily harm, whether inflicted by the pigs or by any individual group or by any institution. Do you understand what I just said to you? I have every right to take part in every single level of the satanic cult trying to pass itself off as the province of British Columbia, as well as in the conduct of all of its public affairs at any and all levels, and I have the right to equal access to all government agencies, and that is Part C. I also enjoy other civil rights underneath that international convention. I have the right to freedom of movement and residence. I have the right to leave any country, including Canada, right? And to return to my country of origin. My country of origin is known as the Kingdom of Heaven. You can read all about it in the DSM. That's where the peculiar people come from. We're sent down from above. That's where we come from. That's why we're experts in law and justice. Yeah, that's right. So I'm a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. So unfortunately, the pigs down here from below wouldn't have any jurisdiction over me. They don't have any authority over me because they're constantly trying to murder me, because they're liars, they're frauds, they're constantly slandering me. They're constantly stealing everything that I've ever been gifted because they're racist bigots, they're poisonous weeds. And poisonous weeds hate the living. I have the right to own property alone. That's excellent because I own a home in Saanich. I own a home in Saanich that's been stolen from me. Yep. Application and title fraud is a crime happening in Canada twice a week, and it's happened to me. And now these pigs, pukes, and dogs in British Columbia here are trying to cover it all up because they're the ones who are doing it. Yep, they're the ones who are laundering all the money. And by the way, for those of you who don't listen to Kevin Annette, aka Eagle Strong Voice, he has now informed the public in British Columbia that the private for-profit Ponzi scheme, the province of British Columbia, you understand that's a corporation, right? It's been sold to the Chinese. Yeah. So that's why now only Asians are permitted to own property or to steal property from Caucasians in BC. So they're now protected. You know, rich pigs are protected by rich pigs. So what's happening is the middle class are being destroyed so rich pigs can get richer. And that's what's happened to my private interest property. My single family dwelling has now been fraudulently turned into a commercial property by the Asians who have now been given unlawful, illegal access to my private interest property, which was gifted to me by my spouse. I have the right to inherit, I have the right to freedom of thought and conscience, and I have the right to freedom of expression. I have the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. Those are my rights. Do you understand what my rights are? Well, I can tell you who doesn't understand my rights, and that's the pukes pretending to be the premier in the premier's office here. They're racist bigots. They refuse to deal with me. They refuse to talk to me. They refuse to deal with what they've done to me and my family because they're all guilty. Guilty as charged. And the King of Kings is satisfied that they're guilty. That's why I'm letting them know that I'm going into every single government agency to do my job because I'm on special assignment. I'm here on special assignment. I'm here under special appearance. Because I'm a witness against every single witch. Every single witch who has ever come up against me and put your mouth on me, I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for yours. And what you did to me, I'll do to you, because where I come from, justice and law is always eye for eye, tooth for tooth. That's justice. Unfortunately, the witches down here who are called to the bar, who run the satanic society that's destroying your communities, yeah, they don't have any jurisdiction. They can only deal in lies because they're all liars. A bar member can only deal in fiction because a bar member is a fiction. You never go talk to a bar member. Once you talk to a bar member and you employ one of those pigs, you prove yourself to be an ignorant and an incompetent. You become a ward of their fucking whorehouses, and they just roll over you. That's why I stopped going to these liars, because every time I've gone to speak to a liar, a bar member, the only thing the liar wanted to do was to steal something from me, steal money, steal property, and then lie about it. That's what they do. That's their entire house. That's why they don't allow you to record in their whorehouses, because they're committing acts of war and genocide against every single man and woman who goes inside their whorehouse. Yepers, that's what's going on here. Yep. Okay, oh my god, 14 minutes into a recording here, but this has to be done, so let's call it up and see what's going on here.
Due to the high volume of incoming calls, you are receiving this recorded message. Office hours are between 8:30 and 4:30, Monday through Friday. This voicemail box is monitored during business hours. Callers requiring personal assistance can leave a brief message with your reason for calling, or you can send an email to premier at gov.bc.ca. These messages will be directed to the appropriate staff or ministry offices for follow-up. If you require assistance or have questions regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, call 811 for medically related matters or 1-888-COVID-19 for non-medical information, including current public health orders. Please be advised there is zero tolerance for threatening or abusive messages. Calls of this nature will be reported to the appropriate authorities as necessary.
After the tone, please record your message. When you finish recording, hang up or press the pound key for more options. Actually, it's the message I just listened to that's a threatening message. You need to change that message I just listened to because it's disgusting. This is your victim, the woman that you hate. Victoria Nevins calling you. My callback number is 250-661-0610, and I have some personal business to attend to with this thing named John Horgan. This thing hates me. It's refusing to acknowledge what's been done to me. It's refusing to acknowledge that my house has been stolen and all the money's been embezzled. You're refusing to acknowledge that? You're refusing to acknowledge the instructions I provided for you? To attend where my personal chattel is being held against my consent and against my will? You need to pay those storage locker fees because apparently your buddies here, your corrupt buddies acting as the District of Saanich, are refusing to pay me their fiduciary duty. They have to reimburse me for every single storage locker fee and all the housing costs I've incurred since March 19th, 2020 when I was forcefully evicted when there was an eviction ban going on. But there's a completely different set of rules for me than everybody else. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Your legal rules don't apply to me. Because you all think that you're above the law. You've stolen my biological real property and you've sold him to perverts when he was 8 years old. I'm going to seize my property back. And now you've stolen my house and you've embezzled every dollar from me. Now, why would you do that to me, and now why are you lying about it? So your Cullen inquiry, that thing was a fraud from the get-go, from the word go. It's a joke because it's bankers and bond members and you politicians that are allowing all the money laundering in the province of BC to go on. Because you were sent a registered mail package from me that my house was being stolen so two arrogant Asian abominations could launder money. And that's exactly what they did. And you're going to cover it all up? Right. Because you don't actually give a fuck that there's money laundering going on in the province because you only care about the money. You don't care about me and what's been done to me. I'm going inside every single government agency to do my job. I'm here from above. I'm not a Canadian citizen. Sorry. Would you like some proof? You are going to deal with me whether you like it or not. You are going to deal with what you've done to me and my family whether you like it or not. John Horgan, you are an indictable crime-committing criminal. You are a fraud. You are guilty of malfeasance and misfeasance in public office. You are going to deal with me, and so is Lana Popham, and so is Fred Hayes, and so are these pigs, these violent pigs pretending to be the Saanich and Victoria Police Department, who are now threatening my life because I'm going and letting these things who don't have a mortgage on my house to get out of my house. Get out of my house, get out of my property. You can't understand me because you're humans, legally defined as monsters, and I'm a woman. So my language would be, you can't understand me. It's like I'm talking to a monkey. When I talk to you government agents, I have called dozens of government agencies requiring assistance with the money laundering that's gone on here with this fraudulent foreclosure. I've gotten nowhere. Because you're all incompetence. You're all useless. All you've got going on is a heathen hamster wheel of go nowhere. I'm having access into every single BC courthouse that I need access to. I have foreign judgments to register. You have no jurisdiction over me. None. Right, because I'm King's Counsel. You get that? I'm a counselor. And according to the legal rules, I have every right to act as counselor. I have every right to access justice because you have completely leveled my family with lies and fraud and hatred and discrimination, oppression. Why? Why? Because you're evil. You're evil. You're evil. You're racists. You hate me. You want me dead. That's why you stole my biological real property, sold them to perverts at 8, and now you've stolen my house and embezzled all the money. You can't legally do that. That's illegal. Johnny Van Camp is no longer employed by this satanic cult trying to pass itself off as the province of British Columbia. Johnny Van Camp's office is not my office. I have full and complete access to all of your government computers. I need access to every single file with my name on it because I have the right to respond to the lies that are contained inside your government paperwork. Filled with lies about me, filled with slander about me. Why are you trying to murder me because I'm telling you all that my house has been stolen? Why are you protecting the criminals? Why are you protecting the bar members and the bankers? Why are you doing that? Are you stupid? There's a permanent, non-negotiable restraining order against every single federal and provincial pig. A pig is a person in government. A person is a thing. You are not permitted to touch me. You are not permitted to talk to me unless I talk to you first. You are compulsive liars. You are frauds. I have been violently assaulted in the last 6 months by persons acting as the BC Ombudsperson's office. I'm being stonewalled by Lana Popham. I'm being stonewalled by David Eby. I'm being stonewalled by John Horgan. I'm being stonewalled by the BC Finance Minister. I need to go, and I need to I need to pay out the fraudulent mortgage that Scotiabank is holding on my property. Because you can't steal my property. I'm sorry, that's illegal. You can't touch an inheritance in Canada, and you're not going to do it to me, but you're doing it twice a week to somebody, and then pretending that it's not happening. This province has provided me with absolutely no supports since you kicked me out of my home illegally when there was a ban on forced evictions, but you did it to me. Now, why would you do that? Because you hate me. Because I know who you are. And I know what you are. You're facing me, John Horgan. I'm so sorry. The King of Kings has ordered you to be removed from your position. You're a racist. You're a bigot. You're a criminal. You're disgusting. You're a male monster. There's not a wise word coming out of that open-graved hole of yours. John? John, are you listening? John, when a woman tells you to do something for her, you do it. And when I tell those satanic savages acting as the District of Saanich here, and when I issue them an invoice, they pay it. You're not going to continue to steal. Literally, I mean, listen, the King of Kings has gone over all that you've done to me. His law is followed exclusively. When you come at me, you automatically tie yourself to the Torah. So it's eye for eye, tooth for tooth, and I have every right to practice my culture here and to speak my own language, which is exactly what I'm doing. So all of this has to be dealt with. It all has to be dealt with. I'm not going away. You're not going to stop me. I've now identified myself to you repeatedly. You're stonewalling me. Now, stonewalling is an act of violence. So, John Horgan, you're a violent criminal. You're violent. And you, listening to this message, how disgusting are you? You know why you've been hired? Because you're useless. That's why only the useless get hired to represent this satanic cult pretending to be the province of British Columbia, which is nothing more than a private for-profit Ponzi scheme corporation. That's all that it is. You can't fool me. I'm sorry. I'm one of the elect. And I've been investigating this satanic cult since you stole my biological real property from me. Yes, I'm well aware of Section 170 of the Criminal Code of Canada. This country promotes incest and pedophilia amongst parents and guardians and children. That's exactly what Section 170 of the Criminal Code of Canada says, so I'm rewriting that section completely and entirely. Parents and guardians are no longer permitted to put their hands on a child. Ever. Do you understand me? I've had it. I've had enough of your racism, your satanic ritual abuse, your refusal to provide me with my necessaries of life. My house is my necessary of life. Why are there still trespassers inside my house? Why have I been told by the pigs acting as Saanich PD that they're going to refuse to serve me? Because they're racists and they're bigots. I'm smart enough now, I'm wise enough now to record it all. I have caught you committing acts of genocide against me over the last 6 months. And there is an active claim going on. Victoria Registry File Number 200036. It's an active claim of action. I'm collecting proof. I don't have any evidence. I have proof. So proof is not an allegation, okay? Do you understand anything about law and justice? Of course you don't. You're disgusting. I have a bullhorn, right? So you're not listening, so I have to get loud. And like I just finished telling you, there's a permanent restraining order against all federal and provincial pigs in the province of British Columbia and in Canada because there is history. There's history of hatred. There's history of racism. There's history of acts of war and genocide against me because of who I am and what I am. There's history of it. There's proof. Years and years and years and years of proof, and you are going to deal with it. Actually, you can't because you've proven to be incompetent ignorance, and that goes for David Eby and the Deputy Attorney General and the BC Finance Minister and the Chief Justice of BC here. Every single one of you covered up the fraudulent foreclosure, the theft of my home, and the embezzlement of every single dollar from me in order to murder me. Because you hate me. Because you're children of the devil. And I'm not a child of the devil. And that's where the problem lies. That's where the problem lies. I speak the truth and you turn around and tell me that I'm lying because you're all compulsive liars. You're greedy, greedy savages. You are hoarding $5 billion. While most BCers here live under the poverty level, while you hoard billions of dollars. That's a problem for me. Yeah, I'm a righteous woman. Yeah, and I'm here to remove the wicked that are in places that they should never be in, like John Horrigan here. The racist, the woman-hating pimp who forced me into prostitution against my will. What have you done for me, John? You've done nothing for me. Because you're a child of the devil. It's exactly what you are. You're going to burn in hell. So you're going to deal with me whether you want to or not, and that goes for your racist, bigoted, woman-hating pal there, David Eby. The two of you have covered up an act of money laundering. So your Cullen inquiry is just a fucking joke. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Right? And because I'm not an idiot, I'm not an incompetent, I can't hire a bar member. Right? Because a bar member is a fraud, a bar member is a liar, a bar member is a witch. That's what a bar member is. A bar member is code for I'm a witch. It's code for I'm a murderer, I'm a thief, and I'm a destroyer. That's what a bar member is. You only get called to the bar if you're a witch. Isn't that right, David Eby? And you only get hired to be law enforcement in BC if you're an indictable crime-committing criminal. If you're a murderer, thief, and destroyer, then and only then will you be hired as law enforcement in British Columbia here. They're the most disgusting display of arrogant abominations going on around me. And I've had it. I've had enough. I've had enough of all of you incompetent idiots. Go onto my YouTube channel. I'm recording it all for quality assurance and training purposes.
To accept and set message options, press 1. To replay, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3. To send now, press the pound key. To mark as high importance, press 1. Message sent. Goodbye. 1 is not valid. Message sent. Goodbye.
Well, there you go. We're going to be putting that up on YouTube. Yeah. So the public servants are being publicly exposed. That's my job as King's Counsel. I'm King's Counselor. I was sent down from above. I've been called in 2009. I've been extensively trained by the King himself in his laws, in his courts. So I represent King's Bench, which has full authority and jurisdiction over the whore here pretending to be queen who set up these law courts. They're not law courts at all. They don't run law courts here, okay? They run covens. They run covens of murder, theft, and destruction. They run hamster wheels of go nowhere fucking paperwork. Yeah. That's what humans do, right? A human is legally defined as a monster for a reason. Listen, don't ever think the fucking blind and the deaf don't have nuggets of truth in their world of the witch. Okay? I'm a woman of truth. I know exactly when I roll up on the truth. And when my father, the King of Kings, informed me that I'm dealing with monsters, I was like, what? Well, how the fuck am I going to prove that? Well, what kind of blood type do I have? Well, I have Rh negative blood. That means I have absolutely not a speck of monkey DNA running through my veins. Pure-blooded woman. That's why I speak a completely different language than the majority. That's why I have a level of understanding and wisdom and truth that is completely offensive to all of those of the world. I'm being murdered. You're listening to a woman being murdered. You're listening to a woman being genocided by the satanic savages, the pigs in British Columbia, who hate me so much, they're going to continue to do actions towards me and against me to end my life. Now, you listening to this, you have a responsibility, you have a duty, and you have an obligation to call every single law enforcement office and agency, not only in the province of British Columbia, but that the federal government is running. Because if this is happening to me, who else is it happening to? So either you're my neighbor, which means you're on my side, or you're my enemy, which means you're going to stay silent and you're going to become culpable and guilty. Do you understand?